They've won gold. They've broken world records. They've electrified stadiums on the biggest stages in the world. Noah Lyles, Sydney McLaughlin-Levrone, Sha'Carri Richardson, Gabby Thomas. This is the most talented generation of US track athletes we've seen in decades. And yet, most Americans couldn't name a single one of them. As we head toward the 2028 Olympics in Los Angeles, the world knows who they are. But at home, silence. There's no late-night buzz, no brand deals exploding, no mainstream coverage befitting global icons. How did it come to this? And what happens if America forgets its greatest athletes before its own Olympic Games? This is the story of a golden generation, running out of time to be recognized. In Paris, they dominated. In Budapest, they took the world by storm. At every World Championships, every Diamond League final, the US track and field team shows up and wins. Sydney McLaughlin-Levrone shattered the 400-meter hurdles world record again, running 50.68 seconds, a time once thought impossible. Noah Lyles just won his 6th straight Diamond League final, edging Olympic champion Lyles Tebogo in a heart-stopping finish. Gabby Thomas became a triple Olympic medalist and remains the only woman to seriously challenge Sha'Carri Jackson in the 200 meters. And Sha'Carri Richardson? She silenced every critic by winning World Championship gold in the 100 meters in 2023, then backed it up in 2025. These aren't rising stars. They are, without question, the best in the world. And yet, outside of track circles, outside of niche Twitter threads, and post-race interviews on streaming platforms, you could walk into a sports bar and say their names, and be met with blank stares. They are world famous, but not famous at home. Sebastian Coe, president of World Athletics, recently issued a warning. He said that American track stars are dangerously under-recognized. Despite their brilliance, their stories, and their star power, they're not connecting with audiences in their own country. And he's right. In most nations, Olympic champions are national heroes. In Jamaica, they still chant for Bolt. In Kenya, Eliud Kipchoge is a cultural icon. In Britain, Mo Farah was knighted. But in the US, our fastest and most decorated athletes are treated like background noise. Their moments happen and then vanish from the national conversation within 48 hours. It wasn't always like this. Carl Lewis was on Wheaties boxes. Michael Johnson was a primetime icon. Florence Griffith Joyner had global deals and a look everyone could recognize. They didn't just run, they mattered. Today, our athletes are faster than ever, more diverse, more charismatic, and somehow more invisible. So what went wrong? Some blame NBC for burying races behind paywalls. Some say track and field doesn't sell unless it's Olympic season. Others point to a broken marketing system that fails to turn athletes into personalities. But the result is the same. We've got a golden generation with global hardware and almost no domestic platform. And as the 2028 Olympics in Los Angeles approaches, the US is in danger of blowing the opportunity of a lifetime. Because without recognition, there's no momentum, no fandom, no legacy, just medals and silence. If you wanted to build a movement, a real, lasting revival of American track and field, you couldn't ask for better names. Noah Lyles, Sydney McLaughlin-Levrone, Sha'Carri Richardson, Gabby Thomas. 4 athletes, 4 distinct personalities. 4 world champions who represent everything American sports is supposed to be about: greatness, grit, and charisma. And yet, somehow they're not household names. Start with Noah Lyles. He's not just fast, he's a showman, a sprinter who wants to bring track back to the spotlight. He broke Michael Johnson's American 200-meter record. He's won 6 straight Diamond League finals. He talks legacy in every interview, channeling the swagger of Muhammad Ali with the focus of Kobe Bryant. But outside the sport, he's barely known. Even after gold medals, world titles, and a Paris comeback, the media mostly ignored him. Then there's Sydney McLaughlin-Levrone, the youngest US track athlete in decades to capture global attention. She's poised, faith-driven, and near-perfect on the track. She owns the world record in the 400-meter hurdles and lowered it multiple times in back-to-back years. She's the face of clean, quiet dominance. And yet, in a country that celebrates female sports icons, Sydney remains strangely undermarketed. Then we have Sha'Carri Richardson, the most polarizing figure in US track. She burst onto the scene with blazing speed and even bolder self-expression. After her Olympic suspension in 2021, the world counted her out. But in 2023, she came back and won World Championship gold in the 100 meters. In 2025, she did it again. She is fire and fury and redemption, everything a great American sports story should be. But rather than celebrate her, the public often debates her. And finally, Gabby Thomas, the Harvard grad, the scholar sprinter. She's medaled at every major meet since 2021 and carries herself with the calm confidence of someone who knows her worth. She speaks about health equity and racial justice with the same poise she brings to the starting blocks. And yet, despite her medals and message, she floats under the radar. Each of these athletes brings something different to the table: style, substance, story. Together, they are the perfect storm. And yet, they've never been fully unleashed on the American imagination. No cereal boxes, no Nike campaigns at Times Square, no docuseries on Netflix, just brilliance waiting to be noticed. And that silence, it's not just unfair, it's unsustainable, especially with LA 2028 on the horizon. Because if America doesn't celebrate its stars now, why would anyone care 4 years from now? In 2028, the Olympics come home, Los Angeles. The last time the US hosted was 1996 in Atlanta. The year Michael Johnson ran in gold shoes and cemented his legacy. That was a moment, a memory that stuck, and that's exactly what LA is supposed to deliver again. But here's the problem: moments don't happen in a vacuum. They need stories, characters, names people recognize. Long before the flame is lit, right now. The US has all the pieces: Lyles, McLaughlin, Richardson, Thomas, athletes who can win, athletes who already do win. But the average American still doesn't know them, and that's a ticking time bomb. Because the Olympics aren't just a sports event, they're a cultural reset, a chance for a country to showcase its best, not just on the track, but in hearts and minds. Think back to 1992. The Dream Team didn't just win basketball gold, they changed how the world saw American sports. They were known, marketed, mythologized. Why? Because the world and the country had years to fall in love with them first. That's the playbook the US track team is missing. We've got stars, but we haven't built stars at home. And without that buildup, Louisiana 2028 risks being a once-in-a-generation opportunity that no one remembers. Imagine this: Sydney McLaughlin breaks another world record in front of 80,000 fans, and the US Sha'Carri Richardson storms back for Olympic gold, silencing critics once and for all. Noah Lyles runs 19.2, becoming the fastest American ever. Gabby Thomas anchors a gold medal relay with her signature grace. It's all possible. But without the storylines in place, without the emotional investment, those moments will flicker and fade. We won't remember the times. We won't replay the finishes. Because we won't have known why it mattered in the first place. That's what's at stake. Recognition isn't about ego, it's about impact. Track and field should be leading the American Olympic narrative. Instead, it's barely part of it. We don't need to invent drama. The drama is real. The stakes are real. The athletes? Already legendary. But until they're celebrated before they hit the starting blocks, the legacy of LA 2028 hangs in the balance. This isn't just a race against time, it's a race against apathy. There's still time, but not much. The Los Angeles Olympics are less than 3 years away. And unless something changes, the United States is on track to waste a golden generation. The problem isn't talent, it's visibility, it's storytelling, it's urgency. Track meets still happen in empty stadiums. World-class races are buried on obscure streaming platforms, and media attention vanishes the moment the medals are handed out. Even the LA Grand Prix, launched as a premier event to build Olympic momentum, fizzled. The inaugural meet was underattended, underpromoted, and quietly canceled by 2025. This isn't just a failure of marketing, it's a failure of imagination. Because fans don't fall in love with medal counts. They fall in love with personalities, with struggles, with stakes, and American track and field has all of it, in spades. Noah Lyles battled mental health demons and came back swinging. Sydney McLaughlin juggles world records with unshakable faith and humility. Sha'Carri Richardson rose from public shame to global redemption, never losing her voice. Gabby Thomas runs between two worlds: Ivy League brilliance and Olympic glory. These aren't just athletes, they're human stories, aching to be told. But time is running out. For decades, track and field lived in the shadows of sports like football and basketball. But LA 2028 is different. It's not just a home games, it's a once-in-a-generation spotlight. A stage where America gets to say, these are our heroes. But that moment won't arrive by accident. It has to be built. Through documentaries, through sponsorships, through coverage that digs deeper than who won the 100. This generation deserves more than a passing glance every 4 years. They deserve posters in bedrooms, billboards in Times Square, legacy, Because when LA lights the torch in 2028, it shouldn't be the beginning of their story. It should be the peak. So what happens now? That depends on whether media, fans, and governing bodies decide to act. Because recognition isn't just about fame, it's about memory. America is sitting on one of the greatest track teams it's ever produced. But if the stories aren't told, the wins won't matter. And the moment, when it finally arrives, will pass like all the others, fast. The clock is ticking, and these athletes are still running. It's time we start running with them.